gonna do about like traffic jams, because that might cause people to be unhappy sometimes, and that's why Toronto, there's some people like they're always in a bad mood.
Did you think of this all by yourself? Yeah, good job. Okay, so this is a tough question. I will say one candidate's mentioned something that I've noticed, Mr. Bradford, that he says he wants a coordinator for all the projects. What there are is a number of levels of government, a number of projects that were committed to over different periods of time that are delayed, and new ones starting that are urgent because they're critical. No one's coordinating all this. That means when someone's building or doing something here and they close that road and you have to turn left, he makes you go that way. That guy makes you turn right. Before you know it, hypothetically, you could go in a circle and never get out once you got in there. Now that's an exaggeration, but somebody needs to coordinate that. Now, one thing I would say about Mr. Bradford, I'd say, well, he was sitting on council when this all began years ago and got to the state that it's in. So it's good of him to bring up the idea now, pulled out of a hat, but I don't know why he didn't bring it up before. I mentioned this in my campaign before, but it's a good question. And it's funny. Yeah, I agree with Mr. Bradford. There should be coordination. There should be a coordinating office to make sure that this stuff doesn't shoot itself in the foot and congest the city and cause more loss in people's time, more loss for businesses that don't, that have no frontage or have no customers because the traffic's cutting them off. More loss for people coming home from work. Like, it's making us inefficient. That's all lost time and money that needs to be quantified, right? In small enterprise or free enterprise like myself, you need to pay attention to this, because if people are turned off, they're going to leave, they're going to abandon you. And the people may abandon the inner core of the city, let alone tourism and business, in which case we'll be broke. So Mr. Bradford's right. Ironically, as much as he's right, I guess he just thought about it just in time to run for mayor. Now that John Tory's not there and it's easy. Or scheduling it in a way, or creating what I call performance clauses. I had that, value for your money, one of my Darren's dozen. When you get value for your money, you put performance clauses in there. If companies don't meet that or obey, you might hold some money in escrow or penalize them or keep them from getting contracts in the future. Right now, there's not a lot of people that get the contracts in Toronto, so we should spread it out. People that want to help us, and the people in the neighborhoods have the neighborhood they want, and we get value for our dollar as we create this construction, then they should be rewarded and paid what they should be paid. If they don't do it, they should be penalized, and that means taking some money from them if they don't meet what they're supposed to do. So that's how you're going to get people to do things, by denying people some of their rewards if they don't do what they say they're going to do. In school, if you write a test and you leave the page blank, are you going to get any points?
No.
Are you going to get a mark?
No.
What's going to happen? You're going to
Fail?
fail. That's right. So what we have here, the way that we run the city, till Mr. Bradford thought of this bright idea to coordinate now, which I agree with him 100%. If he's in, he wins, whatever, okay, let's do it. But why weren't you worrying about this before? It's already a catastrophe. So you'd have to reel this in really hard. This is going to be hard for a mayor. You'd have to have a mayor who's willing to do some tough stuff and not be the likable guy necessarily. And let the councillors deal with their neighborhoods and put smiles on faces. But sometimes respect is more important than being liked. And, also sometimes the stuff that is risky, you're going to have to take a chance. Because in life, sometimes the real gains, the positive change in society comes from the kind of risks you can't quantify. So, I would do these things, and I might very well get a lot of trouble from some people that might not want to do what we want them to do for the city. But I'm not bothered by it, because that's what I want to do. Some people now coming out, there used to be someone who was the mayor here that was likely to be reelected, and it would have been very tough to beat him. I and a number of other people wanted to run against that person last time, and they're all shut out of the media. And it's funny, this time there's a lot of new people, some of them councillors, and they didn't bring these ideas up before. The problem is the city has already got to the point where it's a mess. It'll take years to untangle this. So it's going to be, another thing it's going to be is sweat, toil, and tears, hard work. So the mayor shouldn't be like Tory, sitting in his office in front of a screen. Maybe he doesn't wear the nicest English-style, fitted suit. I don't have one on, but these guys are looking a lot better than me these days. But you'll see I'm getting one soon. Bottom line is, I'm being cheeky. The most important thing is that you go into the field and see what's going on. For example, there's a ramp onto the Gardiner, and you can't turn on the red. There's a red light that stops when the other ramp comes up. They used to have police there. They stopped the police. People are cutting in on one another. It's left to the public. It's a free-for-all. If I had to, if I was mayor, I'd go down there at Russia and spend my time there. And I would phone the police or whoever, the construction companies, whoever's responsible, and phone all day long and stay there until it's sorted out. That's what the mayor needs to do in some cases. So there's going to be some ugly stuff. I'm pretty certain the other guys would be, looking pretty good somewhere aloft from this, somewhere else, calling the supervisor because that's the official way to do things. I'm going to be outside intelligence doing things that are a little different if I'm elected. And that is the way you're going to get things done. Because the problem is, Toronto, you're basically saying there's a problem right now, right? So this is a really big problem. So you're not going to solve it with the status quo. Mind you, Mr. Bradford's right. We need a coordinating department. Trouble is, he should have thought about that years ago when he wasn't working on the same plans with Mr. Tory at one time. Yeah, take a look. The votes are there.